Hey guys. Over the past few weeks, I've received literally tens of thousands, or possibly just one, request to do a Draw My Life video. But because members of my family watch my videos, I'd have to edit my content, remove all of the self-indulgent debauchery that is my daily life, and you'd be left with I was born, ... the end. So, here's my thinking. Since it's Mother's Day, why not do a Draw My Life Mother's Day edition? Mostly true, mostly just for my mom. I was born on August 30th in Olympia, Washington, which is in the Pacific Northwest corner of the United States of America. Olympia is a small, liberal, slacker town. It's the capital of Washington State, actually. My mom was raised just west of Olympia in Aberdeen, and her grandmother lived just north of Olympia in Tacoma. So the moral is we don't get out much. Forks is also up here where they have vampires. They're vampires that twinkle, so they're a little different than your normal ones. My mom went into labor on that summer night in August while at a drive-in theater watching the Peter Fonda cult classic Race with the Devil. If you get the chance, I highly recommend it. I actually quite like it, though having a baby while you're watching it is kind of like going into labor during the last 20 minutes of Rosemary's Baby. Kind of creepy, but also sort of funny. As a little kid, I was probably most likely absolutely the definition of a mama's boy. I really didn't have many friends except for my mom, and I had a hard time being away from her for very long. I worried a lot, had a lot of anxiety, and was always terrified that something horrible would happen to her, and I'd be all alone, and then I'd die. Sort of morbid for a little kid, but there you go. In elementary school, my report cards always said the same thing: quiet, shy, creative, polite. Although my math was and remains a constant struggle for me, I was also far too shy to play sports. I excelled in art. In kindergarten, my mom was called in to talk to the teacher about a family portrait that I had drawn. She was confused because I was the only kid in class who drew their mom with boobs. My mom's response was something like, that's because I have boobs and he can draw? It was around the time of kindergarten that my mom also enrolled me in ballet classes. I'm told that it was because I was uncoordinated. I don't remember much about it, other than I was the only boy in the class, and all of my recital costumes had to be specially made just for me, which you'd think would embarrass somebody, but I kind of liked the attention. My childhood idols were the iconic Deidre Hall, who I still watch on Days of Our Lives, but at the time I knew her as Electra Woman from Electra Woman and Diana Girl, and the stunningly beautiful Linda Carter for her portrayal of the DC Comics character Wonder Woman, who I wanted to be more than anyone else ever. Unfortunately for me, they don't make Wonder Woman underoos for boys. I know, it's kind of stupid. But just as I was about to give up on my dreams of tight corsets, twirling in circles, standing in heels, and running in flats, my mom taught me a lesson that I still use to this day: do it yourself. In the blink of an eye, my mom had taken a plain white t-shirt and a pair of underwear and sat me down at the kitchen table with a pile of colored markers, and we made our own Wonder Woman underoos. I was so happy that day, and when I think about it, I don't think I've ever stopped being happy about that. Once at school, we had to invent sugar-free recipes for a class cookbook we were doing. My mom and I just wrote a fake recipe for Fruit Roll-Ups and then bought them from the store to show in class. I know. And then when we were told that we'd get extra credit if we caught a frog and brought it in for like a show and tell thing, my mom just took me to the pet store to buy a frog instead. I got the extra credit, I got to keep the frog, and I named it Hillary Ezra. I always looked forward to hanging out with my mom. She was my best friend for years, and still, nobody can make me laugh as much as she does. Her mom was actually exactly the same way. She's very smart, very funny. I was actually with my mom when her mom passed, and it was a strange experience because for the first time in my life, I felt like if I needed something from her, she couldn't do it. Obviously, she was busy, but what I mean is that for the first time I realized that my mom wasn't just my mom, she was also someone else's daughter. I miss my grandma a lot, and I know my mom does too. You all would have loved her. She was so much fun and twisted and funny. I actually still have my favorite stamp of hers that she used to use at work. And I can't speak to what kind of a mother she was, but strictly speaking, as a grandmother, she was absolutely the best one in the world, ever. I was always interested in fashion and makeup. In middle school, I read Cosmo and Vogue, like other kids read whatever the hell other kids read. I don't know. I think it began when I saw this old behind-the-scenes special on the making of Michael Jackson's Thriller video. My mom actually got me the VHS tape of it, and there was this interview with Rick Baker, the makeup artist, talking about how they made the zombies for the video, how he got started in makeup. I don't think I was more than 8 years old when I watched it, but I remember thinking, oh my God, that's so cool. Which isn't to say I didn't have other ideas of what I wanted to be. For a while, I wanted to design clothes. My mom bought me a sewing machine, and by 6th grade, I was actually good enough. When all the other kids were making t-shirts and home ec, I was actually working on a kimono. I'm not sure if I should be proud of that or embarrassed, though. I remember my mom buying me my first makeup too. I was in 7th or 8th grade and thinking that if I could make myself look better, my life would somehow be better. I wore my mom's foundation to school and everyone said, "What's that orange stuff on your face?" We aren't exactly the same shade. My mom sat me down and talked to me about makeup, what it does, what it doesn't do, and then she took me to the store and bought me a Revlon foundation and a CoverGirl pressed powder. And that's actually something about my mom that I'm grateful for, because even though we don't always get along, and most of the time I think she thinks that I'm some sort of special kind of mentally challenged, she's pretty much always supportive. Whether I wanted to be Wonder Woman or a rock star, a ninja or a fashion designer, even today, she watches my videos more consistently than anyone else I know, and even bugs me when I haven't made one in a couple of weeks, which, let's face it, is actually pretty cool. So there you have it. And you can't see, but I actually just threw my arms in the air when I said it. That's my Draw My Life Mother's Day edition. Happy Mother's Day, Mom. I love you. And until I see all of you next time, which will be soon, please remember, take care. And as always, drive safe.